system, 142 nautical miles away, hurtled toward an American B-2 Spirit, one of only 19 in the world, costing $2.1 billion and carrying 40,000 pounds of precision bombs. The Interceptor, which reaches speeds of Mach 14, is designed to destroy the world's most elusive bomber in just 42 seconds. But the attack changed everything. Within hours, Washington had authorized a devastating attack. Two B-2 bombers armed with deep strike weapons, escorted by stealth fighters, and a swarm of suicide drones launched from a U.S. aircraft carrier. Their mission was clear: destroy the exact spot where the Chinese missiles had dared to launch. From above, the Spirit had slipped under radar. Below sea level, the drones had swooped forward to overload the defenses. The target? A fortified, supposedly impregnable Chinese coastal base. Did the Chinese missiles hit the B-2? How much did China pay for deliberately attacking America's symbol in the sky? Join me in discovering the truth. On August 12, 2025, at precisely 09:42 a.m. local time, the calm morning skies over the South China Sea were split by the ghostly silhouette of America's most expensive war machine, the B-2 Spirit. Valued at $2.1 billion each and one of only 19 operational units in existence, the B-2 is a flying wing of pure intimidation, 172 feet from tip to tip, capable of carrying 40,000 pounds of ordnance, and designed to appear on radar no larger than a pigeon. On this day, it was returning from a classified mission when it passed directly over Scarborough Shoal, a cluster of reefs and rocks 120 nautical miles from the Philippine coast, hotly contested by Beijing and Manila. To Washington, this was international airspace. To Beijing, it was an incursion into sovereign territory. Within 47 seconds of detection, China's coastal defense network roared to life. Over-the-horizon radars with a reach of 300 miles picked up a faint echo, 0.1 square meters in radar cross-section, barely enough to register, but enough for a trained operator to whisper, B-2. Inside a fortified missile control bunker, an HQ-19 surface-to-air missile was armed. The Interceptor, built to kill stealth aircraft, carried a 400-pound fragmentation warhead and could reach speeds of Mach 14, closing in at nearly 10,700 miles per hour. The launch shook the ground, a trail of fire and smoke streaking into the blue. The B-2 pilot received the missile warning through the cockpit's threat display. In less than 42 seconds, the missile closed 50 miles, but the Spirit was built for this. Banking sharply while releasing electronic countermeasures, the bomber forced the HQ-19 to lose lock. At 35,000 feet, a blinding white flash lit the sky as the missile detonated harmlessly. The entire encounter lasted just 1 minute, 54 seconds. But in those seconds, China had crossed a line. In the Indo-Pacific Command Center, red lights flashed. For Washington, this wasn't just a near miss. It was the opening move of a dangerous game. If you were the Supreme Leader of the United States, would you retaliate immediately, or would you wait for an explanation from China? Tell me yes or no in the comments. The moment the B-2 Spirit's pilot confirmed the missile detonation, a priority flash report raced through secure channels to Indo-Pacific Command, INDOPACOM, in Hawaii. Within 5 minutes of the Scarborough incident, satellite imagery and AWACS radar logs confirmed the missile's point of origin, a hardened launch site 142 nautical miles from the shoal on the southern coast of China. The data was chilling. The HQ-19's launch signature matched the profile of a first-strike anti-stealth system, part of China's most advanced air defense network. Under U.S. rules of engagement, firing on an American aircraft in international airspace was no longer a misunderstanding. It was an unprovoked act of aggression. By 09:57 a.m., a secure video link connected the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the commander of INDOPACOM, and the president in the Situation Room. The numbers were laid out. A B-2 represents 10% of America's entire stealth bomber fleet, and the destruction of even one could cause a $2.1 billion loss, not counting the strategic shock. President Trump's decision came in under 3 minutes. Operation Iron Dagger was authorized, a limited precision strike on the exact site that fired the HQ-19. The mission's objectives were crystal clear: destroy the missile battery, blind the radar, and cripple the launch facility while minimizing collateral damage. The countdown began. T-minus 6 hours to launch. In air bases across Guam and aboard the USS Ronald Reagan, aircraft crews were already prepping for a retaliation that would send a message across the entire Pacific. Before you know what the US will use to counterattack, support us by liking and subscribing to the channel. Now watch history with me. By 10:15 a.m., the skeleton of Operation Iron Dagger was locked into Indopacom's mission board. This was no warning shot. This was a coordinated assault designed to obliterate the HQ-19 launch site in under 90 seconds from the first bomb drop. The heart of the plan, America's most elusive bomber, the B-2 Spirit, worth $2.1 billion each, carrying more destructive power than the entire air force of some nations. The strike force centered on two B-2s, call signs Nightfall 1 and Nightfall 2. Between them, they carried 16 GBU-31 V-3B JDAMs, each a 2,000-pound precision-guided bomb with a circular error probable CEP under 10 meters, enough accuracy to hit a doorway from 25,000 feet. Each JDAM had the force to blow a 10-meter crater through reinforced concrete. Supporting them were two F-35C Lightning IIs, with AN/APG-81 AESA radar capable of tracking 1,000 targets simultaneously, and launching AGM-88G anti-radiation missiles at Mach 2+. Sustaining this long-range punch required two KC-46A Pegasus tankers, each holding 212,000 pounds of fuel, enough to keep the bombers in the air for over 24 hours if necessary. Without them, the B-2's 6,000 nautical mile round trip would be impossible. The deception layer was equally lethal. From the deck of USS Ronald Reagan, 8 FA-18E Super Hornets would launch 32 ADM-160 mailed J decoys, each mimicking the radar signature of a B-52 bomber while emitting 500-watt jamming signals across multiple bands. This would flood Chinese radar screens with over 100 false contacts, forcing operators to guess which was real. Electronic warfare support came from EA-18G Growlers, projecting broadband jamming up to 150 miles and disrupting enemy communications in a 20 MHz bandwidth, effectively blinding early warning networks. The attack axis was split into three simultaneous vectors: MLJ decoys from the east, F-35Cs from the south, and the B-2s threading in from the southwest through a low observable corridor where their radar cross-section would appear smaller than a golf ball. By T-4 hours, every aircraft was airborne. Somewhere on the Chinese coast, an HQ-19 battery sat silent, unaware that $6 billion worth of stealth aircraft, 80,000 pounds of precision munitions, and over 1 million pounds of jet fuel were already committed to erasing it from existence. What more weapons do you think would make the American strike more perfect? Now watch the destruction of the world's most advanced weaponry. By 2:03 a.m. local time, the strike package had crossed the commit line in the Philippine Sea. The B-2 Spirits, Nightfall 1 and Nightfall 2, were now less than 320 nautical miles from the Chinese coast. Their radar cross-section was so small, 0.001 MMGRs, that even the most advanced phased array radars would need to be within 25 miles to have a reliable track. At cruising altitude 35,000 feet, their GE F-118 engines ran at minimal thrust to reduce thermal signature, giving infrared seekers almost nothing to lock onto. Ahead of them, 32 MALD-J decoys from the Super Hornets were already at work. Each projected the radar return of a full-sized bomber while blasting 500-watt jamming energy into Chinese early warning frequencies.